Welcome back to another episode of the Out in the Open podcast. It's your host, Jay Mackin, and today I'm with my co-host, Jaco, Fonzo. What it do?
What's good?
What's
bro,
up? What's up?
Mikey, you sound nervous, bro.
Word, bro.
No, I'm not.
We in Miami with it.
Miami,
We in Miami with it, bro.
Boy, sound nervous, like.
And I'm not nervous,
It's not
bro.
our first time, but
Jaco, come on, dog.
for
Nah,
those,
because Eve was supposed to be here, man. No,
Yeah.
she was supposed to talk to, but
Yeah,
she over there in the background.
Nah, hey, she taking the video for us. You know what I'm saying? So she a part
Behind
of
the
the team.
scenes.
Hey, big shout out for Eve. You know I'm gonna say big shout out because the logo. I ain't gonna lie. She was a big part of it. The whole color, the whole Instagram look. Big shout out to Eve. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely,
That's the
absolutely.
queen of the podcast.
For
Yes. Absolutely, yes.
Nah, but so I'm excited because we're in Miami, and to be in Miami, you gotta do Miami. You gotta do big. You gotta do it big. So we got this. I gotta say, he was the most educational mentor I had. When I mean my educational mentor, it's like, what are you doing? Like, are you in the books for real? Like, you know, some mentor would be like, they will check the profits. Like, he don't really care about that. He cares about, like, are you actually putting the work? You know what I'm saying? And that's just super different because, you know, the company, the things that he do is so much on the numbers. It's so much on the lifestyle. But for him, it's like he literally motivated students to, like, bro, lock the door, actually study, like, be a student of the game. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate this guy, and I'm just thankful that he's, you know, willing to sit down with us. So what's up, Jay? What's good?
Pleasure to be here. Yeah, I mean, to kind of like, I guess, piggyback off what you was just saying, I think it's important for, you know, people to realize that profits follow if you actually do the work. You see what I'm saying? So the reason why I preach so much of, you know, are you studying? Are you actually, like, you know, executing the trades properly? I still have students to this day that what they'll do is they'll send me, you know, their profits or whatever, which is cool. There's nothing wrong with that. Obviously, we're in this, you know, Forex trading game to make money.
Yeah.
But it's like, even though you made money, the thing is, can you duplicate the fact that you just made that money?
Yeah.
And so that's what I care about, because you're not going to retire off that single trade you just did.
Facts.
So that means I need to know if you can do it again.
Yeah.
And the only way I can know if you can do it again is by actually seeing your chart and identifying whether or not if you took that trade correctly.
Yeah, sounds good. But hey, man, we're just gonna start from the beginning. You know, we love what you do, but us as a podcast, we believe that, you know, the true foundation is who you are when you was a kid. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna start with off rip. Where you from?
Well, I'm from Orlando. I'm obviously Haitian. But yeah, I was raised in Orlando.
shout outs.
Big shout
You said
out.
what?
Big shout outs on that.
No, big shout outs to Orlando, man. Ruthless side, obviously, if anyone watching is from Orlando, you guys, I'm pretty sure you guys know about Silver Star, Pine Hills. You know, that's the side that I'm from. Yeah, that's really it, man.
Yeah, that's what's up. I mean, ain't gonna lie, the old birth a lot of greatness, you know.
That's facts.
But it's funny how they win when they get out. We ain't gonna talk about that.
Oh, yeah. No, let's talk about that.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, like, growing up, how was that though? How was that? Like, how's middle school for you? Like, you know, being in school and stuff like that.
Man, I mean, I guess it really depends on which part we're talking about. But middle school was cool, man. I mean, at the end of the day, I had fairly strict parents. Being Haitian, it's never easy growing up in a Haitian household. You know, it's l'école la caille l'église for those of you.
Yeah,
you know,
3 L's. 3 L's.
You know what I'm saying? So it was that for me too. What I would say though is I'm thankful for the way my mom raised me, because if she didn't raise me in that way, I don't think I would have been able to accomplish the things that I've, you know, accomplished so far. But yeah, so school was great. I went to a Haitian school. It was called Miss B's Christian Academy.
Oh, wow. Oh, man.
You went there?
Oh, Eve in the background says she too.
Okay.
Yeah. How was that dynamic like being there?
Man, Haitian.
Yeah.
If that answers the question. Everything was like kind of unorthodox, but nonetheless, I owe a lot to them too. You know, because at the end of the day, without them, the basics such as 1 + 1, you know, would I have, you know, obviously you could have got that from a different school, but I guess what I'm saying is I owe the things to them, because that's where I got that kind of information from. So the basics came from them for sure. you guys are watching, shout out to y'all too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
so-
big shout out.
Big shout out to moms, dads.
Yeah. And then what high school you went to after that?
I went to Evans. I
Yeah.
went to Sheeler High School,
Mm-hmm.
and I went to Oasis, which is actually it's a derivative of Miss B's Christian Academy. So those are the 3 high schools that I went to. Man. So,
Yeah. So being Haitian in like these in Evans, how was that? Because you graduated 2012, right?
well, there's more to that, but I'll keep it, for the the latter of the conversation. But for
Yeah.
now, what I'll say is, man, it was rough. High school
Yeah.
was not fun for me at all. There was a portion of my high school that I was still at Miss B's Christian Academy as well as Oasis and whatnot. But as soon as I kind of like went into the public school system, like all my life practically, I was in private school. So the situation was, hey, you're wearing uniform. This is how everything works. This, that, and the third. And when I got to, public school, like where there's Americans, there's, it's a mix, it's a melting pot.
Right.
It was different, and it was a shock to like understand what was cool and what was not cool. Things that I thought were cool weren't cool. Things that, it was weird. And to tell you the hardest thing for me, one of the hardest things for me there is that I used to get called one jeans because during high school I only had one pair of jeans.
Wow.
So it was interesting, man. And there was this girl, that I guess for whatever reason, she found something in me, and she was like popular.
Yeah.
So because of her saying that, hey, I like this guy, things started to shift and people started to like, I guess be fond of me. I guess the Haitians were always fond of me, right? Like so like I always had Haitian friends or whatever. It didn't matter what school I was at, but the Americans or whatever else, I always had a hard time making those friends because I wasn't cool. You know what I mean? One pair of jeans, maybe 2 pair of shoes, just that kind of situation. So it was just like, oh, this kid is super poor, so we're gonna stay away from him, kind of thing. You guys
so
know
you
what I'm
didn't
talking
make
about.
him-
You guys know what I'm
Yeah.
talking
Did you necessarily care about that at that time?
Of course, because growing up, you kind of look for validation through friends.
Yeah,
It's kind of
absolutely.
like what it is. It's not until you gain the maturity and realize that validation isn't as important as we think it is.
Facts.
But initially, I definitely was looking for the validation, man. What I can say is, if I was able to give myself advice, today, like if to my younger
Look at yourself, yeah.
I probably would have, explained that and just, hey, don't worry about it. Like, you're gonna be rich.
So
That's facts.
Yeah. So did that give you any like insecurities?
Oh,
Yeah, like just being in high school, like did that give you a way where it's like you feel like only thing that mattered is whatever that cool person said?
yeah, 100%. I mean, dude, I did everything to try to be cool, man. I'm talking about like from sagging your pants to buying whatever the shoes that were the coolest at the time, or like I did everything to try to be cool. So that obviously stems from insecurity. Because if you're not insecure, then you're gonna be yourself. You don't care about what the next person says is cool or not cool. Like everything I do today is because of me wanting the highest quality of X, Y, Z, or it's because it makes me feel satisfied. You get what I'm saying? So if I look at a pair of jeans, it's not because it necessarily costs $500 as to why I want it. It's a quality, and then the next thing is how does it make me feel?
Right.
So everyone else outside of me is irrelevant in correlation to something like that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whereas at that point, when it came to clothes, when it came to like what sport I played, when it came to like the subject that I liked in school, all of that was based off of what my friends found cool.
Were you the only child?
No, I have a little sister actually.
So was that kind of a strain on her seeing you go through that as far as?
You know what? Personally, I'd say it was probably slightly different from her because she's 6 years younger than me. So by the time that like I was probably like in the 11th grade, she was already like, in getting placed into the public school system.
Yeah.
So she had more time to adjust than me.
Wow.
And then my parents' income kind of, I wouldn't necessarily went up, but I guess they managed it better.
Yeah.
And they were able to do more. So she was able to fit in way more than, I was able to for sure.
Dang, but you gave her the jewels though, right?
I mean, I gave her as much as I can, but at the end of the day, I'm an older brother. So even though I know she has a ton of respect for me, but at the same time, like I'm not her dad. So a lot of stuff goes in one ear and straight out the other.
Facts.
Can you have some?
Yeah, as far as your family dynamic, who did you look up to as far as your parents?
So I had my mom, my stepdad. My father really wasn't in my life until the latter part. Really been in my life, I'll say, honestly, like the last like few years. He's really stepped back in or whatever the case is. But I'm gonna have to go with my mom, man. My mom. That's who I would say I looked up to because she's always made it happen. What I mean by that, it didn't matter if she had to work 2 jobs, 3 jobs, 4 jobs. She was always gonna get it done. You know, never let me truly go hungry. You know what I mean? Obviously, she's one person. She could only do so much.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna act like we didn't have our times of sorrow where things were kind of bad. But at the same time, you know, she did everything she could, and so I took those characteristics and those mannerisms and kind of applied it to, you know, who I am today.
That's really good.
And even my stepfather, like, we didn't have the most amazing relationship before he passed, but what I will say is that I took a lot from him too. I took a lot from him too because he was, you guys are Haitian, so you guys know. He was super strict. It was, you know, hey, you know, walk this way, talk this way, shake the person's hand this way. So believe it or not, even if I don't do all of those to the T the way that he used to like try to embed it in me, a lot of it still lingers, and I use those things today still. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah. So like going through all these insecurities, did that, like, how was that relationship? Like, did it affect your relationship with your mom? Did it affect the relationship that you had and anybody in the household? Having that, not really loving yourself based on, everything is based on others.
yeah.
Based on how you view, did that affect your family dynamic?
Well, yeah, it carried over into the house, man. So like being insecure in school definitely played a part of being insecure at home, and that's a different kind of insecurity, man. It's like, you know, you want to have good grades, but you know, you go to school and maybe you don't understand this particular subject the way that you should. But then again, maybe your parents can't afford to get you a tutor or whatever the case is. So now you're trying to find your own way to make sure you understand the subject. But then you're a kid at the same time, so you want to go outside and play. So you have all these different, like, you know, dynamics and situations coming into play. And it's kind of hard to balance as a kid. And honestly, I don't even want to say that I tried to balance it. I just kind of went with the flow. But did it play a part? 100%, man. 100%.
Do you think, like, growing up and looking at your family tree and how they're like so dynamic, did you want to emulate the same kind of flow, or you wanted more just for your mom and your stepdad and your sister, or you were like, all right, we're good, even though I have to like get these nice clothes to just be confident in myself? Did you look at that sense, or you're like, no, I want more out the gate?
I always wanted more, man. Watching my mom struggle, watching my mom cry, watching my mom, you know, like be down because, you know, the light bill can't be paid and things of that nature. You have to understand, as a kid, when you wake up in the morning, this is like, I guess, perspective for you guys, and you have to go to school, but you can't iron your clothes because you got, the lights are off.
Facts.
And then now you're looking at that situation, all you're thinking in your mind is, man, you know what, like I gotta like figure out a way, like like when I grow up, I'm gonna buy my mom a Lambo. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How unnecessary is that? But it's just kind of like a pinnacle, right?
You bought your mom a house. Right?
Yeah.
Shout out.
Big shout out.
Big shout outs.
So, that's definitely AC. That threw me off for a second. I thought somebody opened the door or something. But maybe lose my train of thought. What was the question?
And he told you that you bought your mom a house, man.
Yeah.
That's big. That's really
yeah.
big, bro.
Honestly, it's I don't want to say it's nothing, but at the end of the day, man, like having my mom in the best possible position where she has nothing to worry about. She want to get up and go to France and get up and go to Canada the next day Egypt, next day Dubai. Like that's the position she needs to be in. And she's almost there, but I wouldn't say she can get up the next day, not yet. I'll probably let mom give me a week. You know what I'm saying?
But you definitely gave her a head start for sure.
Yeah,
For
facts.
sure. She's not in the same position, man. Like I said, I've gained a lot of motivation from those days of getting up and not being able to iron my clothes, or you know, the milk is warm because the light's been off since last night, or so cereal's about to be nasty now, or whatever the case. You see what I'm saying? So it's like all those experiences came together to create who I am today, if that makes any sense.
So, We both excited.
Where are we? Yeah,
We both excited. We both excited. Nah, I was gonna ask you after high school.
Yeah.
Did you have any idea where you was gonna go?
Oh, I had no
College?
idea.
Yeah, no idea.
So this is something that I've actually never said to anybody. I guess this is probably gonna be like,
Out in the open.
Open,
Out in
yo.
the open,
You
man.
heard it first.
but I actually didn't graduate high school.
Really?
Yeah.
And you grew up in a Haitian household?
Yeah.
No
Yeah,
way.
yeah. So I my 12th grade year, I was already failing as it is, to be honest. But I was obviously in the works of like turning that around, and some events took place on a specific day where like so much happened where I couldn't handle it, and my mom was struggling so much. So I decided to quit and get a job and help her out. Like I'm talking about struggling to the point where lights would be off for like 30 days at a time. We're not talking about 2-3 days.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So in the midst of those kind of situations happening, I was like, you know what? Let me figure out how to like help. You know what I'm saying? So I prioritized that situation over my education. But at the same time, I had this notion in my head that, hey, Bill Gates, didn't finish college and this, that, and the third. So I was like, I'm gonna make it happen one way or another. You know what I mean?
That's deep. So at that age, you were like 18, 19, 17?
Yeah, 18.
So your mom wasn't too mad that you did that?
Oh, she was vivid. She didn't care. She was like, that's not your responsibility. Like, stay in school and I'm gonna worry about
you did it on your terms, like you put it on you.
Yeah, I put it on me.
That's major.
Because at the end of the day, like, it's like, okay, you're saying all of this, but you ain't got no food to eat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
At
So
the end of
like,
the day, yeah.
we gotta figure something out. Because I mean, school's not gonna do nothing for me if I can't eat.
Right.
I gotta at least be able to eat.
Did you lose respect for the educational system in that sense too?
No, because there's things that you gain from the system. Like even though it's a system,
Right.
There's things that you gain, such as discipline, being able to get to class on time, being able to divide things up to understand that this should be done here, this should be done there.
Yes.
Little things like that, you can extract that from the schooling system. But when it comes to actually like, is it necessary in order to be successful in life? Look at me.
I heard that.
Thanks.
So did you ever go back or get your
No,
GED?
I never went back. There was a time that I started. I finished like I forgot how it was. It was like social studies and math, like certain sections.
Yes.
I finished like 3 of them, but then I tapped out because I don't know. At the time, I was really struggling financially,
Yes.
and so it just was overwhelming. And I decided to, let me just like get this money. And so I just went down that path of getting jobs. So it was a struggle, and having a little boy at the time too. So
You?
yeah, I have 2 kids.
Congrats.
So
Congrats, man.
Congrats, bro.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
Wait, when did you
Beautiful thing.
have the first child?
I was 18.
Oh,
18.
So that was in that process.
Yeah,
of
yeah, all
just,
of that
all
was
that.
happening around that time. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it was like a day to 30 days where like so much was happening. It was like, what's
So you didn't do prom or nothing like that, did you?
Nah, I didn't do prom, nothing.
Wow, yo.
I missed out on all those experiences.
that's why I didn't see you at Senior Walk.
He already walked out. He already walked out.
It makes sense. Like, that's why I didn't see you. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's crazy how life is. Like, we can laugh about it now, but
Yeah.
during that time,
Oh, it was hard, man.
it was dark.
It
Yeah.
was hard. I had my doubtful moments where I thought I was just gonna be a failure because it
Yeah.
seems like I was in this pattern of like starting things and not finishing it. You know what I mean? So I felt like that was going to be like my thing where I start things and just don't finish it.
Yeah.
So I had to like chasing the idea of money, right? Because like no one cares. Well, me at least, I don't care about the actual paper, right? It's what the paper provides, right? It's the freedom that's
good,
attached
that's
to
good.
it. So to reword that, what I'll say is chasing the freedom, really gave me like the frame of mind that I had. That I don't know if that makes any
That's
sense.
deep. It's a deeper outlook.
Yeah, so it's like, I don't know, man. I think it's really important for people to like prioritize the freedom versus the currency, if that makes sense.
Did you have support during that time when you were in that phase? Did you have people that, hey man, I got you. Hey, like it's okay, everything's gonna be all right. Did you have
I mean, family, you know what I'm saying? I've always had like, it's two ways to look at this because they were supportive from the perspective of, hey, If you need something, I got you.
Yes.
But at the same time, it was like, hey, don't be an idiot. Finish school. You know what I mean? So, and you can't even blame them for that because that's what they understand.
Yeah, true.
Like, that's what they know. They know that, you know, hey, like if you want to create something in your life, go be a doctor, go be a lawyer, go be, you know, something of that nature.
Right.
So you can actually like make something of yourself.
Yeah. So when going through all these struggles, when did you know you was gonna tap into entrepreneurship, or when did you know?
So I started this little e-commerce type business where I have actually he's right there, my cousin.
Big shout out to your cousin.
So he was doing he was working with somebody that had like a huge warehouse.
Yeah.
And the warehouse that he had, he was you know, like bringing in like truckloads of different things, like from Walmart, Sam's Club, wherever else. And when I seen him working in the warehouse with this guy, like this guy was making a crap ton of money.
Yes.
And I'm just like, man, so if I take all of this stuff, if I put it online, I can do the same thing. So I would buy pallets and then I would try to sell it online. So that was like my first taste in like entrepreneurship. Like, hey, you know, you're a business-minded person. That didn't go well. Definitely didn't go well. But, you know, nonetheless, I think it's irrelevant because all of those are stepping stones to where I am today. That makes any sense.
You try wholesaling too, right?
Man, the list is long. The list is long. I'll be here forever if I tell you everything I've tried.
Why did wholesaling work?
So at the time I was doing wholesaling, I was actually a security guard.
Oh, okay.
So I was a security guard, and obviously, hopefully this is not nothing bad to say, but as a security guard, you don't really do anything. So
Chill. Yeah, I was one too, bro. For like 4 years, bro.
I'm one right now.
Oh shit!
I be chilling, bro.
Chill.
You know the vibes, man.
Yeah,
That one person comes in, says, "Hey, let me through the gate." You're like, then that's it.
That's
That's the heaviest your job.
Word.
So anyway, as a security guard, I really wanted to like you know, gain a skill that was going to make me money. So I heard about real estate wholesaling. So I was like, you know what? When I go to work, I'm going to take that time and study.
Yeah.
So I would go to work, and I'm talking about the full 8-hour shift. I would be in books, YouTube, whatever the case is, just trying to learn, trying to figure this stuff out. And eventually, like, I started putting a plan together on how I was going to execute. The first month I ever executed, I made 11 grand. And so when I made that I made 11 grand. All of it wasn't mine. It was only 5K profit. That was mine.
Yeah.
But irrelevant. I made that 5K profit. I quit that job right there. Like, I don't know if you guys ever heard of this theory where, like, I don't remember the battle or the war, but the idea of the story is that there's this war going on, and then the general sends out his soldiers to this specific battle. And as he sends them out to this battle, he says, hey, you guys are gonna, like, when you guys get there, burn all the boats.
Yep.
Yeah, so okay, so if you know that,
Yeah.
you heard it?
Yeah.
No, so I guess I'll finish it then. So he's like, burn all the boats. And so in the midst of him saying burn all the boats, they're like, hey man, you know, how are we gonna retrieve if we burn all the boats? Like, what's going on? He's like, hey, you guys are gonna have two choices. Either you're gonna win the fight or die.
Wow.
So
Yeah, absolutely.
it's like,
Ain't no turning back.
ain't no turning back. So when they got there, they burned all the boats, and guess what? They won. They didn't have a different choice. So that's kind of like the perspective I used when I had the 5 grand, because I was like 5K. I was like, okay, this is definitely not like technically not enough to make me rich, right? But if I take this and I make it make me rich, then I don't have a choice. So I took that 5 grand, quit working as a security guard, and I haven't worked since.
How old were you when that happened?
Oof. I don't know, maybe like 23.
23.
I'll take a guess.
That's remarkable,
Somewhere around
man.
there.
So, like, after that, did you venture off and do other options as far as entrepreneur activities, or did you just stick to just straight up?
I did wholesaling for about a year. So, on and off. And I found out about Forex right around that time, too. So, I took the money that I was making from wholesaling, and I would dump it into the market. Let's just say that was a bad idea, though.
So that was a bad idea?
Yeah, very bad idea.
Why?
So my first year, I lost like 40 grand.
40 grand? So you were kind of self-taught, or were you into the IML trap?
Well, I got invited into IML, but like that's how I heard about Forex.
Okay.
But I decided not to
Everybody
do it because this is what I'm saying. I've done so many things. So before the security and all that stuff, I was doing an MLM called Motor Club of America.
Oh, yeah, I know about them. I know about them.
You heard of
Yeah.
that? Oh, yeah. So I was doing all these different MLMs, and so like when IML came around, I was like, I'm tired of MLMs. Like I don't want to do that. And I already understood the system because like I was in it.
Oh,
Right,
You know what I'm
right.
saying? So when people were like, hey, it's not really an MLM, you're gonna learn how to trade. I'm like, you're telling me to grab 3 people. Like, how much more?
Marketing.
You can't get no more LML. I can't even say the word. So, you guys get the vibe.
We get the vibes.
Yeah, but so it can't get more network marketing like than that. You know what I mean? So I was like, you know what? We're gonna go ahead and leave that be, and I'm gonna learn how to trade on my own. So I started working on getting trading to understand trading on my own. But like I said, unfortunately, but fortunately, you know, I took all the money I was making in real estate and I would just dump it into the market, which was a black hole.
But you're doing it with logic though, right? You wasn't just aimlessly putting money into the market and hoping.
Honestly, I thought I was doing it logic. Being the trader that I am now, like I didn't know what I was doing.
Oh, looking back.
Yeah, I didn't know.
That's deep.
I thought I did. And I made I turned like $3 grand into like 15 grand in like 3 days.
Yeah.
And so that was like the light bulb where I was like, oh, hold on, this is it.
Yes.
And then I lost it like 2 days later.
I
So
know
it's
that
like,
pain.
so I never even touched that 15 grand I'm talking about. But the point is like that was the light bulb that made me realize like, hold up, Forex might be it.
And did you feel like after losing that, like you can still coming back and get it because you earned it a little bit in that sense? Like you seen it in your profit?
So wait, you talking about making that money back?
Yeah, making that money back.
I mean,
Look at he's here now. He's here now.
that's how I answer that question. You know what I'm saying? So
In one of your posts, you said from using McDonald's Wi-Fi to study to use Wi-Fi to print currency.
Yeah.
So, how was that process of just being that profitable trader? Like, what was the grind like?
So remember when I said that I quit my security job?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So I had to cut off all like the small expenses, so such as Wi-Fi. So I didn't have any Wi-Fi. What I would do is I would go to McDonald's to study. So I'd go to McDonald's, like
Dedication.
study and like try to figure out what the charts were and all this stuff. I had like some friends with me too at the time too. But point is that that's when I was doing all my studying and things of that nature. In the midst of doing all of that, I guess it gave me the respect that I needed. That's not how I should word that. I should say it gave me the mindset that I needed to be able to like thrive, you know, dedicate myself and push through and do all these things. Because like, you know, going into McDonald's and not actually eating, and then people starting to recognize you every day. It's
Yeah.
like, hey, you gonna buy something? Like literally, those kind of things started to happen. Where they're like, hey man, if you're gonna be here for 3 hours, we need you to buy a burger or something. So now, you know, it was like, damn, so I technically am paying Wi-Fi, but it's a good deal. I'm paying $1 for this McChicken, so hey, get it done. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
So all that blood, sweat, and tears paid off.
No, for sure, man.
Do you feel like the lessons that you learned throughout the time of like going into that McDonald's makes you appreciate more of the craft that you do in teaching and also on that?
Say that
aspect?
again. I want to make sure I understand.
So like in regards to the things that you went through, like hustling, learning it through McDonald's, like using their Wi-Fi, figuring things out, do you like translate that to your students as well?
Yeah, of course. Like you were saying earlier, it's really not about the profits to me. Like I've posted profits. I'm not gonna act like I've never done that.
Yeah.
I'm not post profits, but it's not something that's like super attractive to me because at the end of the day, like, can I show you how to do what I just did? That's what's important. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, okay, I made 10K today. Cool. Like, I post it and then it's like, okay, you know, like, can I show you how to do that?
Yeah.
And so in the midst of saying that, like, I try to preach that to my students so much where it's like, don't worry about what I made. Don't worry about if I did this or if I did that. Like, if you guys want the motivation, I get that. I can talk to you guys while on a session, whatever the case is.
Right.
But overall, the name of the game is like, hey, I took this because this broke that level and this happened here, that happened there, and I put all this together and then I executed the trade. So do the same thing. At the end of the day, it's all like relative when it comes to trading. Somebody making, you know, $1 per pip is the same thing as the next person making 1,000 per pip. It's relative. It's relative to your account size. It's relative. Like, master the skill, and then the 1,000 per pip is gonna come. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Wait.
absolutely, absolutely.
So what you mean by 1,000 per pip?
So that's trading talk. I don't want to confuse nobody. But,
Right, if I get lost over there.
yeah, I don't want to go
I don't know nothing about
too
Forex.
deep into that. But let's just put it like this. So Like, as you invest money into the market, based on the amount that you invest, you make a certain amount based on what the market's moving. You get what I'm saying? And how the market's moving, rather. And so what I'm saying is, somebody with a bigger account is obviously able to invest more. And when if they invest more, obviously they're going to make more with the same movement.
Yeah.
And so all I'm trying to say is that it's all relative. And so the important part is for you to be able to identify that it is relative. And if you master the skill, then the 1,000 per pip or 2,000 per pip, whatever your goal is to make per pip, you can get there if you master the skill first, versus worrying about doing it now.
Makes sense.
It's delayed gratification, man.
That's I was just about to say that. The fact that you were willing to like even sit down and study the game, even after your losses, even after what you've been through, like you could have easily just went and worked the 9 to 5, but you chose more. Why was that? Why wasn't like working security enough for you?
Well, because it's not attached to freedom.
Ooh, talk about that,
You know,
yo, talk about that, yo. So are you saying in the sense of like having to check in with your boss to get out of work and stuff like that?
And so remember, in the beginning, I was saying that I was chasing freedom.
Yeah.
And so that's always been the motivating factor, right? And so if I'm in a position where like I have to talk to somebody in order to get this done, you're gonna give me my $10 an hour. It's gonna be something that's gonna go towards all my bills, because the way the system's set up, it's set up in a way that you just kind of float by,
right?
Be able to really get ahead. And how in any form, how is that freedom? In any form, like people don't realize, like if you take that vacation, you're only gonna have as much fun as you have in your pocket.
Right.
Like obviously we can like go to Dubai, right, and have no money and then just play Uno and have fun, right? Because there's that kind of memory that you can build with your friends and family. But at the same time, we can't play Uno here.
That's true.
Like you can't play Uno at your house.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure you're not going to Dubai to play Uno, right?
Right.
So if that's the case, then I mean it's going to be relative to what you have and what you can spend to really enjoy the activities and amenities and whatever else they have to offer out there. And so if that's the case, a security job wasn't going to provide that.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, so you started Forex. And you started Forex in Orlando.
Yeah.
So how's the city embraced you as far as like when you
As
was
in
trying
Orlando?
as in Orlando, like how were you trying to get it? Like, what was it competition? Was it like
Yeah,
people was
of course.
hating?
Of course.
Like, how was it with
I wouldn't say people were necessarily hating. What I would say is that I didn't get any respect until I got my mom a car and a house. When that happened, I think that's when the shift happened. Was like, okay, this guy might be he might know what he's doing.
You onto something?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but prior to that, I would have to say that I don't think too many people were even paying me any mind. It was like, okay, just another Forex trader. If that makes any sense. So once I put my foot down, they felt the pressure.
I wanted to ask you in regards to making it on the other side where you have freedom.
Yeah.
How good is it? Like, what is it really like for those who don't know about it? Like that aspect of just waking up and not having to deal with other people, or you have the option to deal with people. Like, how is that lifestyle?
I think the best thing about it is that you're not confined to anything. So if somebody's saying something you don't like, you don't have to talk to them. If somebody's like, you're not confined to any, you're really not. You know what I'm saying? And it brings you to this place of bliss as well. What I mean is like, people don't understand how their reactions to other things in life is derived, or like it's coming from some other situation. In other words, people with road rage or whatever. Like people cut me off, and I'm just like, oh, well, keep it moving. Because like at the end of the day, I can't give you that energy, right? And so I think that's all coming from how I wake up in the morning. The fact that I woke up in the morning and like I know I'm not worried about any bills. I know I'm not worried about this. I'm not worried about that. So when I go out into the world and someone else is projecting their anger on me, it's like it bounces off, because I'm coming from a place of love. I'm coming from a place of freedom. So what you're feeling, I can't accept. You get what I'm saying?
You're above it, basically. Like you don't really.
I'm not on that same frequency.
Yeah.
You guys know how radios work, right?
Yeah.
So if you're on 95.3, you hear that. And if you switch the station, then you hear that. So how can you hear two stations at the same time?
Ooh. Yo, y'all getting exclusive jewels right now. Yo, he doesn't do this. Like, he does not go on podcasts and talk about this stuff. Like, yo, y'all hearing exclusive content right now.
For sure.
That is deep.
Yeah.
That's a good way to look at life in general.
Yeah, for sure, man. You gotta tune in. I I'm not gonna try to paint myself as the most spiritual person.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely somebody who's really big on spirituality, man. So I just try not to let anybody, stain how I'm feeling for the day, because that might affect what I attract next.
That's a real long question as well, because I was gonna ask you in regards to like being blissful, because there's some people that have freedom and they're chaotic, like they're out of control. Their egos are too big.
Yeah.
And I want to personally say this to your face, like super humble. You guys are gonna see the behind the scenes aspect for the YouTube family. Like he welcomed us in with grace. Like he showed us everything about his penthouse.
Yeah.
Why are you so humble and like why are you so graceful? Like, because there's people that are out there that have freedom and they're not. They're all about themselves.
Most of the time, again, I think that this derives from whatever the starting point is, right? And so if someone's never been there, then they don't know how to like treat there, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So I've had nothing, and I know how to treat, I guess other people, regardless of where they are in life or whatever the case is. So I've been in situations where people are like talking down on me or whatever the case is, and it's just like it's not a good feeling, man. So regardless of the person, you could have more money than me, less money than me, just the same amount of money than me, and it's all the same treatment. You know what I'm saying? So when you guys are coming into my house, it's like, oh, these are some guys that I want to chill with, and we're gonna do this podcast, whatever the case is. Here's what here's where I am. Hopefully, this is a motivation.
It is.
It
You ever
definitely
question
is.
that? It is, bro.
So with that mentality, how and with that mentality and being in Forex and being around the Forex community, like and just being you, like how do you receive relationships? Like how you are with the girls? That's what I'm asking.
The ladies.
In a more urban term.
The ladies.
On the more urban. See, I was gonna go Harvard. I was gonna go like very like Harvard with it. I'm like, bro, I'm in Miami, so what it is with the shawties. Bro.
Listen,
like,
man. So like honestly, man, this is gonna sound bad. You said what?
You said you're not looking.
No. So okay, look, I'm gonna put it like this, man. I don't think people realize how much energy they like exert when it comes to like dealing with a lot of women. I really think like something important that all men should be focusing on is semen retention.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, behind the scenes we was talking about that.
behind
For
us,
sure.
yeah.
So I'm not gonna act like I haven't had, my quote unquote fair share, all right? But at the same time, you're able to create more when the energy is able to like stay within.
Bro,
you know what I'm saying? So
You in Miami though? Come on now, like
he's trying to get
I
in
think
there.
I think he's trying to break it. Yeah, he's trying to break it.
His answer out.
Yeah, he's trying to break
I'm
you,
trying to
bro.
understand, like I'm trying to understand the mindset because you're in Miami,
Yeah.
and like I know it's challenging,
Tempting, yeah, there's
it's
so much
tempting, but like how do you deal with that in a everyday basis? Like you're in Miami, is a very tempting city, it's they have a big nightlife. Like how is it? Like obviously, what's the process? I know it's hard.
Let me ask you this:
Yeah,
when you drive, do you wear your seatbelt?
yeah. I do.
Why?
It's a city.
I like that answer.
I'm being serious.
I like that answer.
Okay.
So, like, in other words, what I'm trying to say is like, there's a goal there, right?
Yeah.
You want to be safe, right?
Yeah.
So you go ahead and you put your seatbelt on, right? Because if in case something happens, you want to make sure you was locked in.
Yeah.
So when it comes to like women, the perspective that I'm approaching with it, now it's like I want to attract more. So I either do what I need to do to attract more, or don't. Like, there's no in between. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna act like women don't have their challenges, but I'm working on something that's a little bit more important.
That's big.
When you first kind of started this process, how bad was it for you
Which process?
as far as retention? Like I know you didn't see like immediate like.
Nah, like guys,
Talk about it, man. Talk about it, bro.
It's out in the open, my boy.
Listen, man, I'm gonna put it this way. Like, at the end of the day, God know what He doing when He created some of these,
Queens out here.
Took His time and sculpted. You know what I'm saying? So,
Absolutely.
but nonetheless, I could appreciate art without buying it. If that makes any sense.
Yo, bro,
I'm bored that man reading, man. What you reading?
bro, so much wisdom, man. And it's
That makes
just like,
sense though. You ever go to like a gallery?
Facts.
Like, I mean, $10,000. I mean, it's a lot of money.
Word.
I'm gonna look at
You
it.
can look, but can't touch.
You can't go home with it. That's a good analogy. Oh shoot.
Man, that's wisdom right there for you.
That's dope.
So do you feel like the season that you're in right now, you have to be in that position?
Yeah, 100%. If I'm just gonna be honest, the mother of my child is, somebody who's pretty special to me, right? So, and in the midst of saying that, she's somebody who's like, even though we have our hardships and whatever it is that we're going through, I always try to like put myself in a position where it's like I need her to understand that I'm gonna always be there for her, or whatever the case is, regardless if we end up together or not, whatever the case may be.
Yes.
That I'm always there for her. So, but at the end of the day, you guys all know, what a BM can be like. You know what I'm saying? So there's that side too.
What is she?
What do you mean?
As far as ethnicity?
Oh, she's American.
American? Okay.
Yeah, in the midst of saying that, it's like, I guess that's that. I'm gonna leave it at that.
You already went all out in the open already, man. With that.
Well,
Because it's not a sexy thing
No,
to hear.
We ain't trying to get BM to spam on page.
Nah, right?
Oh yeah. We showing love though, by the way. We showing love. We ain't being malice or nothing like that.
No, of course not.
But the thing about it is the fact that you're willing to do that and be proud of it and be confident and have a reason behind it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that people do and they don't have a reason behind it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of times that's why a lot of people fall,
Yeah.
because they don't have that.
Yeah. If you don't have a why, you're gonna quit once the obstacle is strong enough. It's like point
that's
blank.
true.
So because what gets you through that obstacle is the why, right? So when you're like, just imagine if, let's say, your mom's in the hospital, God forbid, right?
Yeah.
And you're driving towards, getting your mom and you get a flat tire, you stop.
Yeah.
Like you stop for the moment because obviously you got a flat tire, but you're gonna figure out how to get to the hospital afterwards, whether it's Uber, fixing the tire, or whatever, because the why is so strong. It's like
Deeper.
this obstacle doesn't matter because like the goal is to get to my mom. She's in the hospital. You know what I'm saying? Whereas say you were about to go, I don't know, play basketball, then it's a different outcome because the why is not big enough. It's like, man, I'll play ball tomorrow.
Whatever.
Hey, y'all boys, I can't pull up. And
Yeah,
I'm gonna go back to the crib.
Yeah, that's why I'm going back what you're saying. That's why like I'm so in love with what we're doing as far as this podcast. Because I told my team all the time, like, I'm not here for like just to like be on camera. I'm here because it's like 2021 was like the hardest year of my life. Like I went through depression, wanted to like to kill myself and everything.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it's like, and I started really taking this serious because it's like, bro, because I always used to tell my kid, bro, I used to tell you, bro, I just want to speak, bro. Like, I feel like it's like a bunch of things that go in my head. Like, I just want to speak. And I'm like, and then, he started the idea of the podcast. And that was like a great blessing because it's like now I can project my hurt, my pain to other people. And they contact me on the DM like, bro, I'm going through the same shit.
Yeah.
That's just powerful to me. So I'm going back to what you were saying. It's like, it's so true. Like, your why have to be super big, So, yeah.
If not, you're gonna quit, man.
Yeah.
You really are. And I've been in plenty of positions where I've like I was saying earlier, where I start things and tend to not finish, and that's all based on that same premise, where like my why wasn't big enough at that time. Right, but once my why became big enough, like the rest is history.
Yeah.
The rest is really history because like it's like it's an ongoing motor. You know what I mean? You're not gonna let off.
Yeah. Did you ever wanted to quit though? Like at any point, like the Forex? Because I know getting clapped, getting on and on and on and on.
Straight red.
I mean, you literally see your bank account
Negative.
on. I mean, I know you was like, man, listen, like.
Not did I? I actually did, if I'm gonna be honest. I quit Forex like twice. But again, not doing what I needed to do in high school and things of that nature, like I knew I had very little options, or at least I felt like I had very little options. So I was like, I gotta make this work one way or another. So I'll probably quit for like a month or two. But I would always like, full circle and come back and like say, hey, I gotta kind of figure this thing out. And I'm really glad that I did, man, because if I didn't, then I would have never got into all the other investments I've gotten into, things of that nature, man. So there's that.
How did you like go through COVID? Like, how was that? As far as
COVID was actually like cool, and the reason why I'm saying that is because I got to stay home and trade. You know what I'm
that's a
saying?
normal lifestyle, though,
Had
right?
more time.
It didn't change, so it didn't really change too much, right?
Well, so I trade on the 1 minute. So the
What?
way, yeah.
1 minute, bro.
You trade on the 1 minute?
Hold on, I gotta tell you.
What does that
you
mean,
say
though?
entry wise or just general
Yeah,
markups?
no, so like,
He do everything on the 1 minute. Look, listen. I signed up to his course, right?
Whoa.
And me, I'm a big 15 in the hour guy.
Yeah.
14. I do 4 hours just to know exactly what I'm looking at. This man will hit me up like, bro, what are you doing? Like, we do 1 minute. Like, he always tell me like, bro, like, get the money now. And I never understand. Yo, man, go over that. real quick.
so yeah, like around the time that he was in the course, at that time I didn't look at nothing at all, like anything else but the 1 minute. It was only the 1 minute.
1 minute.
Yeah, because at the end, the markets are fractal, man. Whoever tells you anything other than that either don't know what they're talking about or they're lying. One or the other, you know. So, and what I mean by fractal is like the same higher low and lower high that the 4 hour makes, the 1 minute makes the same thing.
Yeah.
It's not like I have $2 billion in this trading account. I'm not trying to trade like a bank, and so if I'm not trying to trade like a bank, then I'm just trying to get my money now
In and out.
leave.
Yeah.
Like, guess what? When you go to the bank, they don't ask you how long you was in that trade for.
That's true. That's true. And they got big money that they move in, so they push the
I
market.
really need you guys to understand what I just said. When you go to the bank,
Yeah, explain that.
they do not
It
ask
went over
you.
my head. It did.
They do not ask you how long you was in the trade for. In other words, it doesn't matter if this person stayed in there for 4 hours, this person stayed in there for 10 hours, this
Yeah.
person stayed in there for 1 minute. It's irrelevant. The point is do something that works and then
Makes
Make
sense.
it- make it
Yeah,
money.
makes sense. Makes sense.
Making money,
Yeah.
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
for me, like I don't get any extra points for being in the market for 10 hours.
Right.
So if I'm gonna make this, if we're using risk management, that means I would make the same amount for being in it for 10 hours than I would.
Whichever time frame.
Like it doesn't matter. If we're using proper risk, let's say I'm risking 1% for a trade.
Yeah.
And my risk, my RR, meaning my risk to reward, is 3 to 1, meaning I'm looking to make 3 times the amount that I'm risking. So I'm
Yes.
risking 1,000 to make 3,000. If that is the case, it does not matter if I'm in the trade for 10 hours, 20 hours, a week, or 20 seconds. I'm
Right.
still gonna make that same 3,000. So why would I want to be in there for 10 hours
Right.
when I can get the same thing done in 2
Fraction
minutes?
of time, yeah, fraction of time. That's beautiful. So y'all getting a little sneak peek of the
Little sneak
actual
peek.
course,
Look,
man.
I know why though. Like it's scary to trade in the 1 minute because it moves fast. Right?
Yeah.
You lose quicker.
Yeah, and you also
That's
win
facts.
quicker.
That is
Yeah.
facts.
So
Oh,
But
you
that's,
went faster,
that's
yeah.
all relative though. Again, because at the end of the day, like,
My
Like-
thing, like, what is this? What are y'all talking about?
For real. I'm just listening.
like I mean, I'll put it like this, man. Like it's all relative, man. It really doesn't matter. Like I said, I'm gonna say this one more time. Like when you go to the bank and you cash out, they don't ask how long you was in that trade for. So I'll just leave it at that.
That's beautiful, man. Do you tell the banks that you trade, or because I know a lot of banks don't like traders. They don't like people that.
We're talking about creditors, because that's I guess banks are creditors.
Oh yeah, you do credit too.
So yeah, so what I'll say is, I mean, they don't really care. I guess you know who does care is IRS. That's different.
So you let them know that you trade.
You have to.
Okay, I thought like because I know a lot of traders they sometimes just go under like an LLC.
You can do that too. So
Okay.
like, there's different ways you can do it. So like, that's too personal. I don't want to go into that, but I'll just say this, man. So you can either create an LLC and do it that way, or you can tell them that you're a trader. That way you can actually write off your losses and things of that nature.
Yes.
By the way, I am not a CPA or anything. Do with
Yeah.
that with what you will. So but yeah. So hey, want to make people
Right,
money
covered,
out
word,
here, man. You know what I'm
word,
saying?
facts.
So but yeah. So nonetheless, there's plenty of ways you can do it, man. Plenty of ways you can do it. Like now, I'm at the point in my life where it's not even just about trading anymore. Like trading is cool because, like I said, it's attached to freedom.
Yeah.
But the name of the game for me is investing into other things.
So you're investing in trucks. I
Yeah,
researched
6
that.
of them.
Whoa.
Yeah, I researched about that. Like, talk about that.
Yeah, so I have one of my good friends, man. He decided to create this trucking automation business model. And so in the midst of him doing that, which is absolutely phenomenal, all you do is you literally get the trucks and give them to him, and he runs everything from the ground up. So I don't even know what my drivers look like, nothing.
Yeah.
But I have 6 of them. All 6 aren't on the road yet, but last month there was just 2 of them on the road, and I would say this: I was able to clear 27 grand. So yeah.
Off of just 2 trucks?
Yeah.
So what they like? They deliver. They take from another store to
Brother
another
man.
store. Oh yeah, you.
Brother man, when I say automation,
Automation, you
automation.
gotta work. Yeah, you gotta
I
work about that.
literally have no idea.
So, was it somebody that you knew for a long time? Like, how do
Not
you?
a long, maybe 2 years now. Now.
So how do you assess it? Like, how do you assess a business partner? Like, someone that you do business with. How do you assess that?
One word: energy. Yeah.
What about trust?
So that's
Part
a
of it.
derivative of energy.
Mhm.
So, because if your energy's off, how can I trust you?
Exactly.
So that has to be like a face-to-face type of thing.
Of course.
Or you can pick it up off the
course.
phone.
You can pick it up off the phone, but I'm gonna say it's always better to like put yourself in a position where you're right next to the person, because psychology is something people can't hide. Like
That's
the
big on
behavior,
trading too,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So it's like if you're uninterested, your body language is gonna speak it. You know what I'm saying? Whether you want it to or not. You can try to hide it, of course, and pay it, and if you're like willingly paying attention to your body language, you can kind of like manipulate it a little bit, but there's gonna be, little points that scream that, hey, I'm not interested in what you're talking about or whatever else, you know what I mean? So I think it's important to, always meet with the person that you're trying to do business with.
That's good.
Makes sense, makes
That's
sense.
good.
So, being in Forex, how's the Forex community like? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is something that people need to, the fakeness in the industry? Because there's always fakeness in the industry. Talk about that,
man. There's so much cap in the trading world. It is absolutely ridiculous. I'm not about to name drop. I think I saw y'all in one of y'all podcasts where I was like, name drop. Drop names.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember which one that was, but I remember
That was
with
with
Junior.
That was with Junior. Nah, he played it smooth. He played it real smooth.
He ain't got no beef with
He
nobody.
said no beef. He got no beef.
He got no
Same here. No beef.
No beef.
No beef
That's
with
good.
nobody.
That's
But
really good.
yeah, man, people, like posting screenshots of profits, and it's again, like I tell you, obviously profits can be real. It's not like that. It's always fake. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But at the same time, in the midst of it being real or fake, can you duplicate that? Can you get the next person to do the exact same thing? And if you have trouble duplicating it, then it shows me that there's holes in wherever it is you're talking about.
Facts. Oh, I just learned this a couple days ago, actually. Tell me if you agree to this statement right here. To be successful, you have to make someone else successful. Do you agree to that?
I actually do agree with that, because then the thing is, how do you define success?
Right.
If success is, a self thing, then I've been successful since I started. Like this is
Right.
So for me, the true success is actually being able to get to a place where I'm affecting other people.
Yeah.
Where I'm putting other people in position. And showing people like, hey, like this is why I invested in trucks. This is why I invested in Airbnbs. This is why I invested here, there. You know what I'm saying? Whatever the case is. So
Do you have $1 million student?
$1 million student, I mean, pretty freaking close. Ferry.
That's someone that stays with you, right?
Big shout out to Ferry, man.
Shout out to Ferry, man.
Big shout out.
Big shout outs. Big shout
Pretty
outs.
close, man. He's only 21, man. And he's doing monstrous things.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Big
great.
shout outs,
And
man.
I know that's like makes you happy, right? Because you're like, this is what I do.
Being proud.
Come on, man. Like to be able to see somebody like literally go out to the mall and drop 5-10 grand, and like it's not normal from where we come from, you know what I'm
Facts.
saying? And
Yeah, that's
turn
true.
around and be like, hey man, you trying to go jet skis? I'm like, bro, you just drop.
Like it was nothing.
Say less. Just on you, brother, because I ain't spending like that.
You still got that Haitian tendency, like, you know what I'm saying? You got it, but like you still want to
Frugal?
have it
You
just
talking
a
about
little
you
bit.
frugal?
Yeah. No, Haitians, we
but
spend
I'm
different.
not. I am, but I'm not. It depends on what we're talking about, man. 'Cause
Okay.
the things that like give me joy energetically, like I'm gonna spend on that. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So if I see a watch, or if I see a car, if I see something that like really like touches my heart and makes me happy, then it's no longer about the monetary. It's the value that it's giving me energetically.
What's the highest you spend? What's the highest thing you spend?
You talking about on a date?
No.
It is
What,
good.
like an item?
Damn, I don't know, man.
That watch looking crazy though.
It's a little something.
Fuck they lost.
I mean, this watch was 27 grand.
27 grand. Oh man, that's crazy.
Oh yeah.
Damn, that's tuition. That's my tuition right now, bro. That's tuition right there. You just walking around with it.
Yeah, so but I mean, like it. I mean, honestly, like I said, I spend on things that make me happy. It's more so like my mom's birthday the other day. Like
Big shout outs to moms again.
for sure.
Big shout out.
Seeing that in another life.
I designed them up. You know what I'm saying? So like so it's like things like that. It's not necessarily like buying this item.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I mean, I'm getting a chain made right now, so.
Okay.
Ooh,
Yeah.
custom.
That's one of our goals. We're trying to get like a chain.
Yeah,
Like that snake.
mine is a smooth 50 piece. So
Yeah.
you know.
Me too.
Does it say something? Is it a logo? What is
Yeah,
it?
GCU.
Okay, then.
Oh,
Yeah, okay, nice, man.
Nice.
So yeah.
So you talked about your dad. So how's that relationship now? Like what's that?
It's getting better than it was because there was a point in my life where, if I'm honest, man, I despised that man because I didn't understand what I did as to why he didn't want to be in my life.
Yeah.
But as I got older, obviously I got to understood it wasn't necessarily because I did anything. It's just where he was in his life.
Yeah.
And you can't necessarily like fault people for that.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of maturity to get to that place of thinking because all you can think of as a kid is like, oh, you see pictures with him eating ice cream with his other kids. And it's like, damn, like why am I not deserving of that same treatment or behavior? You get what I'm saying? And so to see him like damn near on a daily basis now, where like we're able to communicate, talk, and like grow. It's I would say it's growing and it's a lot better than it ever was. That's for sure.
That's
That's
cool.
amazing. That is amazing. Do you feel like it's genuine?
It is. At first, I thought it might have not been genuine,
Yeah.
but it definitely is, man. Because he doesn't ask me for anything. If anything, he asks me for information, as in like, how can he do the same?
Oh wow.
deep.
That's
Yeah.
deep. That's deep.
That's deep.
Because I would think like we ask you for like money. Or,
Yeah.
Nah.
That's good.
I mean, you always gonna have the hated friends that be like, quit them saying no lie. But nothing serious.
Yeah.
Nothing serious.
That's
And
good.
he's a hustler, man. Like the man has been in America for like, I don't know, like permanently in America for less than a year. He already has a car. He's running a little business.
Yeah.
Like, and so I can see where I get the hustle from for sure.
Do you translate that with your kids?
In what way? You mean like in other words?
As far as like the things that your dad didn't give you when you were younger, do you
Yeah, I think I do it a little too much. I'm trying to find
you like
balance now.
spoiling them and stuff like
Yeah,
that?
because like now, if I call on my FaceTime, the first thing is I want some toys. And it's like,
Oh man.
well, I say hi. You know what I mean?
Yeah, oh, they're already programmed. Like,
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, how you doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, did you eat? You know what I'm saying? Like let's get those questions out of the way first.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
the
But,
essentials. You got girl, boy, two
Both.
girl, girl and boy.
Yeah, yeah.
Who's the oldest? Like the boy?
Boy.
The boy?
Mhm.
That's what's up,
Yeah,
man.
so,
So what is a father lifestyle like for you? Like what does that look like?
And it's a shout out to the VM as well, man.
Shout outs.
She's honestly a powerhouse because she's technically handling most of it. Like I'm really there monetarily, if that makes any sense. So I make sure that they don't want for anything. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's her that's really doing like the parenting. And I'm just being honest, right?
Yeah,
like
transparent.
Obviously, I see them as often as I possibly can, and I apply my parenting then. But in all honesty, because I don't see them like every day,
Yeah.
like when I see them, it's like, hey, let's go to this store, that store, doing that. But that's what I mean by trying to find balance because I don't want to buy their love, I want to earn it.
Yeah.
Ooh,
That's you. That's you.
that's
Yeah,
good.
big, that's
So
big.
like they value time, right?
Of course, they definitely value time because every time I'm with them and I have to leave or whatever the case is, like it's hell. It's
Yeah.
never
Easy to step
it's never a
away.
clean leave.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
Do you allow your parents, or I should say your dad, to meet the rest of the family as far as your kids?
Yeah, he has actually. I struggled with that for probably like 2 months, not for long. I tend to make decisions fairly quickly, man. It's like I just gotta feel it energetically. I'll feel it and I'll do it. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, it's when you don't feel it and you do it, the problem happens.
Did you what was the reason behind the fight as far as like letting him meet them? Is it because of the way that you seen growing up, like he would leave aspect?
Well, humans are creatures of habit.
Yeah.
So if you used to leave me, then you may want to leave them, and then it's gonna be a problem. So I struggled with the idea of him leaving them, and so if it's not God taking them from this earth, you better not go nowhere. I say that like that.
So did you have like a conversation about that to him
Yeah,
directly?
for sure. And he understands, man, because at least with the words that he's saying to me now, he's saying
Yeah.
that, you know, he would never do that. And that it was just the place that he was in. You know, he figured that when my mom was in America that she was good. That she would figure it out. And since he wasn't able to do the same thing by being able to come to America, he figured that, you know, it was best to let her, you know, recreate life over here. But little did he know, man, was it rough.
That's crazy. So we're about to end in a minute, but Markin, you can ask your questions.
Oh, yeah.
You love asking the guests that question.
I mean, Shirley changed it up for you though. She made it kind of complex.
Yeah, she did. She did. The question is, where do you see yourself in the next couple months, or even the next year?
The next year,
Yeah.
if I hit my goal, I'll be doing about $2 million a month. I'll tell you that much. Assuming I hit my goal.
Yeah.
We gonna speak that in the
No, that's
atmosphere.
Yeah, you will.
No, I
You
will.
will.
So that's like retirement, right there.
He already retired. He said he already got freedom.
Where's like the business money itself anyway?
Well,
So you just
like,
hire traders to teach other, you know what I'm saying?
for me, it's a journey, so it's never ending.
Ooh.
So,
You're the second trader that said that.
yeah,
That's right.
it's never ending, man. I don't think I'll ever get tired of trading. Like, I definitely don't do it as much as I used to.
Yeah.
Like, I'll go 3 days without trading now, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whereas there was a point in my life where, like,
You
if
had
I
to.
didn't trade, I
Necessity.
wasn't
Yeah.
paying the bills, you know what I'm saying?
That's
So,
deep.
so obviously, I'll probably fall back more and more and more, but I'll never fall back 100%. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, sounds good. So in social media, you said
Homework. See, we do our homework out here.
I saw you show him something. I was like, what are you showing?
Got to.
20 hours ago.
Yeah.
You said this
Just
thing
20
called
hours.
life, and then you said here. What's that about?
Oh man, so man, you really had to bring this up.
Oh yeah, we talk about it. Yeah.
So I actually had a friend that passed away 2 days ago.
Is that Nancy's?
Yeah.
Oh,
you knew
wow.
him.
Yeah.
You knew him.
Yeah.
Well, it
Even
makes
the back
sense.
over
because-
here, she being petty in the back right now.
No, it makes sense because he went to Evans, but I didn't know you was there.
No, it wasn't like necessarily because of that. Like,
Oh, okay.
it's just like there was a point in my life. I'll say I don't want to throw an age out there because I don't want to lie, but from really young till
Yeah.
about 20 something, you know, I said 22, 23, somewhere around there. Like I was with that man damn near every day.
Wow.
You know, so when I heard it, it was, man, like, to be honest, like I haven't been close to him for like the last 3, 4 years, maybe even up to 5,
Yeah.
right? Where like we kind of just grew apart because I went into the business world,
Yeah.
and you know, he wasn't of that, you know, kind of, like he wasn't worried about that, I guess.
Right.
So in the midst of saying that, like, he came to my house about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And when he came, you know, we went out, we had fun, and I'm like, you know, kind of caught up because it's been so long.
Right.
And he was talking about, you know, me teaching him how to trade, and I was like, yeah, I got you, whatever the case is. And you know, he left, and obviously, you know, you guys know what happened.
Right.
And so I think it's because of how it ended.
Yeah.
Whereas like, hey, maybe he's about to step on the right path now, kind of thing. Not to say he was on the wrong path or anything for anyone listening. But yeah, it's just, it really, really hit me, man. Like day one, and like this morning I was pretty cool, but yesterday night, I think that's when it hit me the hardest. Like not when I first found out. I think it was yesterday night, man. Yeah, it was bad.
So what's your mentality in like just mortality? What's your mentality just? Because that's one of my biggest fears is having somebody that I love to pass away.
So here's the thing: we're allowed to hurt, right?
Sure.
So everyone's here is free to hurt, but we have to understand that fear is attached to not knowing.
Yeah.
So you're afraid of what you don't know. So like the reason why you're afraid of like the dark is because you can't see. You
Yeah.
have no idea what's coming. You
Sure.
hear things, whatever else. Because you'll go through that same spot during the day and be completely fine. You know what I'm saying? So it's really just understanding that it's because you don't know. So, and unfortunately, death is something that we all don't completely understand. You can say whatever you want. You may understand certain things, or you have your beliefs about it.
Yeah.
But none of us understand it 100%. No one can say they understand it 100% because you'd have to die and come back, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And
True.
that's a whole nother conversation, right? But, nonetheless, so I have a slight bit of fear about it, but at the same time, I believe that we're all here to, do what we need to do, and we don't leave into this.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's such thing as like leaving early.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I focus on a lot is like I want to make sure I always I'm like every time I meet somebody, they have to come up like, hey bro, keep grinding. Like I want to say that because like if I ever pass away, they could come and my funeral, they could say, man, this man always say, bro, keep grinding.
Yeah.
That's that legacy that So that's what make me kind of help me with it a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Legacy is big for me.
Legacy is huge. That's the reason why I'm not like on a beach right now and saying to the podcast.
Yeah.
Because like I care about leaving something behind.
Yeah.
If it was just about me, I've been good.
Yeah.
For a minute now. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So, but it's not just about me. You know what I'm saying? It's about making sure that I'm affecting other people, getting other people to get on the path to create greatness for themselves.
That's good.
So
How do you find therapy in things that affect you mentally, emotionally? What do you do to get that? Because I know when we walked into your penthouse, I'm very observant. You had the musical guitar, right? Is that one of your things that you find peace at? Where you step away from the charts, you step away from your kids, everything that's going on. What do you find peace in?
Well, so believe it or not, where I find peace is knowing that it's already done. So
What do you mean by that?
when I want something, right? So say, what can I use as an example? When I was 16, my dream car was a BMW M4, right? That was my dream car. Like it was on my wall, like dream car.
Yeah.
So, but me at those ages knowing that like, hey, I'll say more like around 18 is when I realized it was already done. But the point is, around 18, 19, when I started getting into the law of attraction, things of that nature, and understanding that once you speak something, it's done.
Yes.
Then the in-between doesn't matter. So if I'm going through like troubles, hardships, like whatever is happening, none of that matter because it's already done. Time just needs to catch up.
Bro, y'all need to.
That makes sense. That makes complete sense.
So like you don't concern yourself of the things that are happening right now because you already have it in your mind that it's gonna come.
It's done.
That's deep, bro.
That's a good way to. That's a good way to like process it. Like, yeah. That's dope.
No, yeah,
That's
for
dope.
sure, man.
Yeah.
If you really believe that, it's where I'm telling you, it's I wouldn't say it's easy, but it's simple to move through life.
Yeah.
All right, but how do you translate that to pain though? Like when you, for example, death, people that die around you. How do you do that process?
Yeah,
like,
so that one's a little tougher, which is why last night was so like
right,
hard for me.
because we have those moments.
Yeah, of course. I'll say anything else outside of that one thing, which is death.
Yes.
I kind of like apply that to it. When it comes to death, it's like I can't change it.
Yeah.
So if
It's
I can't
not
change it,
control,
yeah, it's like people ask questions like, "Hey, do you regret this, that, or the third?"
Yes.
And the question is, regardless if you regret it or not, you have to live with it. So once you accept the fact that you got to live with it, then it's an easier pill to swallow. So last night I kind of went through the process of, hey, I have to live with it. Like there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah.
I have to live with it. And so transitioning from not accepting it because I didn't want to believe it, into transitioning into accepting it is like where that shift happened. I guess if that makes sense.
Did that also bring you a moment of like life is short aspect to it, where you want to spend more time with people that you haven't gotten in contact with in a while, or people that you are around that you kind of like were more like, okay, I need to appreciate time a little bit more? Did that come into play?
Time is extreme, like the most valuable commodity, like period, right? Because
Absolutely.
when you spend it, you don't get it back. There's no refund. So I've always had the mentality of like making sure that I spend my time wisely. That's why I go so hard with business. Like a lot of people will tell you that it takes me forever to respond to texts, calls, whatever the case is, and it's because I'm just like tunnel vision into creating what I want to create. You see what I'm saying? So
you know I'm a little annoying because when you text me, and I don't get to respond back. I'm gonna keep going.
nah.
This is why we're here.
Hey, you got the result, right?
See, that's the thing right there.
So.
Boy, when you text that text, you like, hey, let's do it. Well, I text to him. Listen, let's go. We going to Miami with it.
Nah, that's funny.
Nah, man, that's good though. That's good.
But we typically play this game, this or that, with all our people that we bring in. On good note. Absolutely. So we're just gonna put two things together, and you're gonna pick out of the two, okay?
Okay.
All right. Instagram or Twitter?
Instagram.
Instagram. All right. Gym or art? I heard you said both of those things.
No, I want to hear you saying why.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, explain that.
Why Instagram?
I didn't even get the premise. But I'm they go like, why did
Over
I choose
Twitter?
Instagram? I mean, well, because I don't have a Twitter account.
See, that's an easy answer right there.
That's really why I don't have a big.
Okay, a gym or art?
For me, art.
Oh.
You're trying
The reason why we brought that,
gonna have some
yeah,
problem with that.
because you earlier you was telling us about his,
Nah,
your trainer.
Killed
So
tomorrow. I'm gonna get killed tomorrow.
Why that?
Watch this. But why I draw, so I find peace in that.
Yeah.
whoa, really?
Yeah.
Are you saying like nature or like is it more of a modern? Like what kind of
just
artist are you?
creativity, period. So it doesn't even matter, like drawing whether anything from like a cartoon to like something that doesn't make sense. Like it literally is just like a creative piece.
That's nice. That's nice. Okay. This one we already kind of answered this one for you. Salary or hourly?
Ah,
Over here, 1 minute.
I'm gonna answer that by saying passively.
That's good. All right, show or tell.
Show.
Why?
Because I could tell you whatever I want, but it's like it can go in one ear and straight out the other. But if I show you, you have to accept it. So
Got you. Okay, that's a good one. Speed or accuracy?
accuracy.
I think we know that one for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, this one kind of tough, I would say. Education or experience?
Experience.
Wow, you answer that fast.
Experience is the best educator.
Like life, basically, like things that you learn through. Okay, okay. Passion or stability?
Passion.
Why?
Passion drives stability.
Man, you're too good on this. All right.
You read too much books.
Success or happiness?
Happiness.
Why?
Well, for me, I think you can't have success. You can have happiness without success, but you can't have success without happiness.
Slow that down. Slow that down. What do you mean?
So you can be happy and not necessarily be super rich or whatever.
Yeah.
But
That's true.
are you successful if you're not happy?
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. I love it. I love it. All right. Regret or doubt?
Wow.
We got him. We got him.
That one is one. Regret or doubt.
I wish we had some drinks. You can make you drink.
Right. Regret or doubt. Right, because I would have been drunk on that one. Take like 5 shots on this one. Wow, that one.
Why is there a fight on that one then?
Because it's like, again, I don't really believe in the idea of regretting because you have to live with it.
Facts.
And when it comes to doubt, that's such a negative thing for me, man. Because it's like, doubt is what stops people from creating. You can't create if you're in a space of doubt because you won't execute. Or if you execute slowly.
So that's like a double-edged sword on that one.
Yeah.
That wasn't a fair one. My bad. All right. What about this one right here? Big family or small family?
Whatever God allows.
Okay, that's good. All right. Underestimate or overestimate?
I like to give people like the benefit of the doubt. So I like to let them prove to me what where they fall in that. Whether it's going to be them not, hitting the goals that I want them to hit, or them surpassing the goals that they want to hit. But I don't ever want to apply my definition of what I think they are before they get the chance or the opportunity to show me.
Because you feel like they can overachieve it.
Of course.
In that sense,
Of
that's
course.
good. Okay, what about this right here? No company or bad company?
Company's important, man. Doing this by yourself is really, 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 really hard. When you go through the days where you want to like break laptops, like because you're like in bad trades or whatever the case is, you need somebody to call on and be like, hey man, like this is what I'm going through. Like just cheer me up. What we talking about? This, that, whatever.
I love it. I mean,
I got one more. One more. And I just want to see like your business taste.
you was about to say Jay-Z?
No, not Jay-Z. Oh, Master P or Birdman, because the idea of building the
Mogul. I'll throw in a third one on there too. Rick Ross.
Yeah.
Rick Ross.
Why?
Cause we in Miami?
No. No, I just To be fair, I don't know enough about the other two.
Okay.
But Rick Ross, man, what that man is doing is just like
Yeah.
Legendary.
Legendary.
It's legendary, man.
Yeah.
I actually want to emulate a lot of the things that he's doing. You know what I'm saying? Like he's literally a serial investor, man. He invests
Yeah, he
into a
is.
little bit of everything.
Everything.
So just like me with 6 semis, 100 Airbnbs, things of that nature, it's just like you know
got
what
the
I'm saying?
same kind of drive.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I can see that for sure. How can they reach you, man? How can they reach you?
J_Electi, ELECTI.
And that's on Instagram, right?
Yeah.
You don't got a Twitter, so for those that are trying to look like, you ever have to deal with like fake pages and stuff like that?
Spams?
Like maybe, probably like 4 times so far.
Yeah, man, y'all watch out now, man.
Like I've had
Page.
people send me screenshots of cash apps where they're like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
people sending them
scamming.
money, like it's crazy. But
Yeah.
I'll be verified soon.
For real. We doing that right now.
Before we leave, man, I gotta tell that it's pretty much education with this guy. I remember when I signed up with his class. I mean, he got like 200 videos.
Yeah.
He demanded us to watch it.
Honey.
Yeah.
Honey.
Well, I got 100.
Oh, they're adding extra.
No.
money.
It looked like
It looked like
200.
200.
I got to like 15, dog.
I was like, you know what? This ain't for me. He tapped out quick.
I ain't gonna care.
He
Well,
tapped out quick.
not
Listen,
listen.
bro, what happened? Bro,
Listen.
it's a lot of stuff to
It's,
study.
it's a lot. So, hey, whoever wanna get this man, hey, just know, study, man. It's all about the mind, bro. I don't even think you're gonna approach him with like, how much to invest. It's all about like,
No, because it doesn't matter. Because if you get the skill, then you can turn whatever you invest into whatever you want.
Yeah, lifetime. Yeah.
don't be like me, guys. Don't be like me.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's your website? You have a website?
Yeah, so it's gapclosersuniversity.com. So that's the name of the community, GCU, gapclosersuniversity.com. And just so you guys can understand, the name came from me wanting to close the gap between poverty and wealth.
Ooh,
That's
That's big.
that's good.
good.
That's real good.
Yeah.
And you did that.
Oh, yeah, I'm doing that.
Yeah.
I will continue to.
Absolutely, that's amazing, man. We appreciate your time. I know time
Yeah.
is very important to you, man.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the fact that you were able to be yourself on this podcast,
For sure.
be transparent.
For sure.
The same energy that we got behind the cameras, behind the mics,
Yep,
is the
the
same
same.
person that you guys are seeing right now.
For real.
I want you guys to understand, like, the things that we're doing right now is for you guys, the audience, the people that are listening. We're able to come out here because of you guys, the passion that we have, the drive that we have, and we bring it with the people that are also on here, our special guests. And I hope you guys got that jewel, got that information that can change not just yourself, but your family tree. So we appreciate that fact as well. Thank you again, bro.
Appreciate it. Facts, man. Hey,
Definitely
we out.
a blessing to be here, guys.
For sure, man.
Appreciate you.
Sir.
Thank you, bro.